Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and we're back with another banner review. This time is for 2.2, first half and second half as well. For the new characters, Boothill, Fuxuan, we have Robin as well as Topaz and Numby. Now, I always like to do it separately because every time you have one banner, people just like to rate it generally, assuming that you pull for either. But truth is, reality is, the two banner characters tend to be very different, and the value you get from each one differs quite greatly. That's why I have two separate sections. So first thing, let's start off chronologically. Let's start off first with, of course, the first half. We have Robin and Topaz and Numby. Now these ratings here do not factor in how good the 5 stars are. It just factors in whatever they do, the typing, in order to give ratings on the synergy and versatility. More importantly, I'm actually focused on the 4-star cast, and I'll give some commentary on who will actually benefit from which unit and talking a bit about them as well. If you want more information about the banner 5 stars itself, that will be for another video, but we will just talk about very briefly in their overall kit. So first things first, let's talk about the 4 stars here. March 7, Hanya and Sherman. I honestly really like this banner. This is super good. A super TLDR is, there's always one banner that is super stacked, and there's one banner that's not so that good. And first half is definitely the one that is more stacked. The second half is but the 5 stars are quite interesting, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So for this banner, who do I think is the best out of all the 3-4 stars? I think, in my opinion, it will probably be a character like Sherman and Hanya. Both come really close, but all 3 are actually pretty good. Why Sherman is good is, especially if you're a newer player, you are looking for colorless breakers hitting all elements, she will help you handle a lot of content very well because she hits all elemental weaknesses regardless of what. She works very nicely with quantum, dropping, weakness, breaking thingy with Silver Wolf also. So that's also super strong. Hanya is a support buffer. She moves extremely fast, but having double harmony here if you're pulling for Robin might affect certain things. And March 7 of course is excellent at protecting, especially if you have her at very high Eidolons. E6 allows her to start healing units with a shield. So you put the shield, you draw aggro and heal at the same time. That is, I think, really good. And all 3 of them scales very well into Eidolons. If I'm not wrong, Sherman is E4, Hanya scales linearly with her Eidolons, all good throughout. March 7 is really super good at E6, and that I think are the key ones. So I really like this banner quite a lot. Overall value, regardless of whether you pull for Robin or whether you pull for Topaz and Numby, is a very clear S tier banner for me. This is super good value regardless of whether you pull for Robin or Topaz and Numby. But the differences will start kicking in, especially when we go down, if I'm not wrong at least. So first things first, synergy. I think if you're playing a character, for example, like Topaz and Numby, if you're pulling for Topaz and Numby in her banner, this is more or less a perfect synergy banner. You have a good shielder, especially a high Eidolons here. You can swap her out for links or whatever not, but March 7 does follow-ups from a defensive position. Especially if you don't have a character like Aventurine, she's probably the only other defensive character that does follow-ups, other than maybe Clara to some extent, but Clara is not exactly 100% defensive. March 7, high Eidolons, heals, shields, cleansers, able to follow up. Very good together with Topaz and Numby. Robin also likes follow-up in a sense, follow-up characters, so either way, both works really well. You have Sherman, who's a second DPS to Topaz and Numby. I think she also does follow-ups here. Passive, if I'm not wrong, is also proccing follow-ups. So they work really nicely. This is more or less a perfect banner, which is smart of Hoyoverse because they know that we are now sapped off of resources, especially if you just put Akirion, you went to the max, or maybe you put Aventurine quite deeply in and you are saving for Firefly, Jade, or Boothill. That's why they put out this banner to whammy us with a really god tier banner right here. Where it starts to fall off a little bit, I think is in Robin's banner in terms of synergy, because you are running a double harmony character, and synergy here really is talking about slapping the 4 characters in the team. Especially if you're a new player, this matters a lot to you because you just want to play with whatever units that you get, put them in the team and run with it. In this case, I do think it's possible you can super hyper carry a character like Sherman, but probably not as great value as you will get if you're a super new player just slapping Topaz, Numby and these other 3 characters in the same team. You can basically form a team for Topaz and Numby, but for Robin, you might be lacking a bit of DPS because of the amount of supports there are, unless of course you run Robin at E6 or something like that. But for most people, you probably won't. I really like this banner. In terms of versatility for Robin, I think it's a clear S tier. You are pulling for 2 harmony characters. Both of them are very versatile as well. You have a super versatile character like Sherman who can fit into most teams as a of primary DPS or just your backup breaker, elemental breaker, kind of weakness breaker kind of unit. All playing into very good metas coming out, follow-up-ish, break effect-ish, and you have March 7 who is not the best kind of defensive unit. You have other characters now like Lynx, you have Gallagher, but I would say that she offers a playstyle into follow-up, so if any of you who are interested in venturing to that aspect to tap on Robin's ability, she stacks quite nice with March 7 since March 7 does offer a bit of follow-up attacks too. So S tier banner for sure, and of course it's the same for Topaz and Numby. I think this banner is S tier. Unfortunately, this is a banner is probably one of my highest recommendations. The last time we saw a banner this stacked, I think was Runmay's banner. This was of course when Runmay was having her run. I think it was more or less the same. We had Sherry. I think we had a very stacked banner as well. Super good from what I remember, but Sherry hardly appears. The only other time that Sherry actually has appeared was on Runmay's banner. This is the first time Sherry is coming back and on a very stacked banner of Robin. A bit early from what I'll expect, but great for new players, free-to-play players. I think this banner will look quite attractive. But now let's talk about the second one, which is very interesting as well. The 5-star characters are definitely the one that is going to sell this banner a little bit more. For any of you who just want a quick introduction for this banner and my thoughts overall, very good characters. Fuxuan, of course, one of the best units in the game. I still think that she's probably my top pick in the entire of Honkai Star Rail. You want to know my reasonings? I have like many other videos on the channel already telling you why. And even still to today, I think she's probably one of the top picks I have. For Boothill, on the other hand, his kit does look very interesting, and we also recently know that we are going into like a apocalyptic chaos game mode, the third one coming out after Pure Fiction and Memory of Chaos. So it does look quite interesting for Boothill. But let's talk about the character in a little bit in another video where we analyze them in depth. Let's first in this video talk about the banner review, how good value it is, and I'll give you an honest opinion. This is definitely the inferior banner. The one that I like most out of these three by a huge, a far margin, probably is Pella. Pella is universal. She can work well with most of the best DPSs in the game right now. Akirion, you have Black Swan, Kafka, Jingliu, regardless of whatever com you name it, Pella is probably there as one of the best picks that you have, especially given how good Akirion is. So and Jingliu, of course, both are super strong. I think that, in my opinion, this banner for either one of them is an A tier. Hook is, unfortunately, in my opinion, one of the worst DPSs in the game. Hook just requires a lot of action advancing, very slow character in nature, very single target focus, yet putting so much resources and investment in the character that does not pay off exactly. I find it very difficult to justify 4-star pure DPSs with not much utility, especially in a game like Honkai Star Rail, a turn-based game where numbers and base stats matter quite a lot. I think Hook pulls down this banner. And Luca, on the other hand, came out very interesting, a good amounts of break, a good amounts of bleed, good amounts of damage, offered a slightly different single target playstyle compared to another physical single target unit like Susang, but unfortunately hasn't seen too much play yet. Maybe it's called break effects, like not super meta, but it might come in a little bit more. Hopefully with the arrival of Boothill and the shift to a break effect meta, maybe Luca can see more play. But for now, I probably will rank him in the middle, slightly middle lower of the 4-star pack, which is about the same as an A tier. So pulled up by Pella, which is definitely an S tier character. Luca is probably like an A-ish tier. Hook is definitely a B tier for me. So overall value, I think very clear is an A banner. Middle of a park, really, if you get a lot of Pella, you'll be very happy. But otherwise, if you get a lot of Hook, you probably will be quite unhappy. Banner synergy for Boothill, if you slap them all on the same team, you'll be absolutely ridiculed because it's insanely difficult to run without any supportive elements, and they are all DPSs. The 3 of them are DPSs, 1 Pella, so someone has to be swapped out. I think that someone will probably be Hook. Yeah, but of course, if you're going for Fuxuan, then I think your synergy is much higher because you have 2 DPSs, you could somehow make them work, and a good unit like Pella and Fuxuan, which offers you at least the option of playing them in a multi-elemental team or in the same team kinda. And of course, versatility for this banner is definitely like a B tier, especially if you're pulling for Boothill. You probably won't be running them in many versatile teams. The only unit that I considered actually putting this at an A was Pella, because Pella is like so versatile, but I don't think it should be the case. I'll just give it a B because it's dog shit. And the last but not least, of course, pulled up by Fuxuan and Pella. If you're pulling for Fuxuan, the versatility is probably like slightly higher because of how good they are. Definitely, Hoiverse knows what they're doing. A lot of people wanted to pull for Fuxuan on a rerun, and the value we get out of this is pretty low, in my opinion. And that is my overall thoughts for the 2 banners. We'll be doing one for the light cone if any of you who are interested in that on the channel, and we'll be doing our 2.3 banner predictions as well. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested in any of this, do like and subscribe, and check out our other videos we did right after the live stream, and see you in the next video.